Hey guys, so we're going to be going over the QCA 3 review, so follow along to get an explanation of all of the questions. Alright, so on number 1, we need to get our x by itself. So that means we got to do our opposite operations. So we're going to have to subtract 18 from both sides. When we do so, on this side we're left with negative 5x. Is less than, and we're going to do negative 42 minus 18. I'm going to do that over here on the calculator. So we're going to have negative 42 minus 18, and that's going to give us negative 60. So from there, we're going to divide by negative 5 and negative 5. Remember, if you divide by a negative, your sign is going to change. So we're going to have x is greater than negative divided by a negative changes to a positive. 60 divided by 12 is, or divided by 5 is 12. So x is greater than 12. For number 2, we're going to go our order of operations. So remember PEMDAS. So parentheses first. So we're going to simplify what is inside of those parentheses. So we're going to get 10 plus 10 times 5 squared. All over 6 plus 2 times 2 is 4. Next step is exponents. So we're going to have 10 plus 10 times 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. On the bottom, we still have 6 plus 4. Then our next step, we're going to do our multiplication. So we're going to get 10 plus 10 times 25, which is 250. Divided by 6 plus 4. Then we're going to add, so we're going to get 260 over 10. And 260 divided by 10 is 26. So just really break it down step by step to get your answer. All right, number 3, graph. Y is greater than 2. Do this one in a different color. So we're going to go to 2. So since it does not have the inequality underneath that, or the equal underneath, it's going to be a dashed line. So our line is going to look like that. And then since it's greater than, that means we are going to be shading above. So our graph should be shaded up here. Alright, so that is your graph of y is greater than 2. Then we have x is less than negative 4. So we're going to go on the x-axis here. Go to negative 4. This one's going to be a vertical line at negative 4. So it's going to look like this. Again, it is a dashed line because you don't have that equals underneath the inequality sign. So x is less than is going to be the smaller numbers that are to the left. So that should be your graph. So which graph does not represent a function? Remember, to determine if it's a function or not, it's going to have to pass that vertical line test. So B is not going to be a function because if you pass a vertical line through that line at x is negative 4, you're going to touch all those spots on that line. So that one is not a function. All right, number 4. Susie bought 2 packs of Skittles, 1 Slurpee for $5.45. Sally got 1 pack of Skittles and 4 Slurpees for $9.27. So it wants to know how much a Slurpee cost. So we're going to have Skittles, I'm going to do X. Slurpee is Y. Skittles is X and Slurpees is Y. So we're going to have 2 equations here. We're going to have a system of equations. The first one is going to be for what Susie bought, and the second one is for what Sally bought. So we're going to have 2 packs of Skittles, so 2X plus 1 Slurpee, so 1Y equals $5.45. And then we're going to have Sally for 1 pack of Skittles and 4 Slurpees, so 1X plus 4Y. And that's going to equal $9.27. So you can do elimination or substitution if you want. I'm going to do it on the calculator, so I'm going to show you up here. So if you remember, you're going to go to second, and then you're going to go to this matrix right here. And we're going to go over to edit, and we are going to edit this one. So remember, it is how many down by how many across. Since we have two equations, that means we're going to have 2 down, and then we have 1, 2, 3 numbers to input across. So a 2 by 3 matrix, and then we are going to change these numbers to our numbers over here. So our first number is going to match that first number, the 2x. So we're going to have 2, and then we have 1y, and then we have 5.45. So that goes with that first line up here. Then our second line is going to go off of this one. So we have 1x, 4y, and 9.27. So the numbers in that matrix match our numbers over here. From there, we got to get out of this, and then we have to go back into the matrix menu, go over to math, and then we're going to go all the way down to RREF. There it is. So RREF, second matrix, we have to input and click enter on matrix A and enter. So our first one, our first variable, our X, is going to be $1.79. And then our second one, Y, is going to be $1.87. So it asks how much does a Slurpee cost. So our Slurpees is the Y's. So that means a Slurpee cost $1.87. And that is our final answer. Alright, this one, so we're going to be graphing. I'm going to go ahead and graph this second one right here. So we would have y equals 3/4 x plus 10. So you're always going to start at your y-intercept. So we're going to go to 10. And then our slope is 3/4. So that means we're going to do rise over run. We're going to rise 3 and go over 4. And rise 3 and go over 4. And we're just going to continue this pattern. And then I'm also going to go down and back so that we can continue the line out that way. Alright, and that should be enough there. Go ahead and plot that. There is that first one. Then we're going to graph that second one. I'll graph this one in green. But before we can do that, we're going to have to solve it for y. So we have 4x minus 2y equals 10. So we need to get y by itself. So we're going to subtract 4x from both sides. So negative 2y equals negative 4x plus 10. Since we want it in that mx plus b form. Then we're going to divide through everything by negative 2. So y equals negative divided by negative is a positive. So 2x minus 5. Okay, so this one, we're going to go to our y-intercept of negative 5. And then our slope is 2, or 2 over 1. So we're going to go up 2 and over 1 a bunch of times. Keep making that same pattern, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Perfect. So if you look, they run into each other here. So that means that our solution is that spot where they intersect. It's kind of hard to see. Let's see, it's at 12:19. So the intersection is the solution, so 12:19. All right, number 6, multiply and combine like terms. I'm going to do this one in our box method. So 2x minus 4, 3x plus 1. So multiplying 3x times 2x, we're going to get 6x squared. Negative 4 times 3x is negative 12x. 2x times 1 is 2x, and negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. We're going to have two like terms here. So we're going to get 6x squared. Negative 12x plus 2x is going to give us negative 10x minus 4. So that is your final answer, combining your like terms. All right, find the area of square units of a rectangle that has a width of 3x cubed y squared and a length of 5x to the fourth y squared. So area is going to be length times width. So our length is 5x to the fourth y squared, and our width is 3x cubed y squared. So then we are going to multiply. Remember, when we multiply bases, we add our exponents. So we're going to multiply the two numbers in front. So we're going to multiply our 5 and our 3, and then we're going to add the exponents. So 5 times 3 is 15, and then we're going to add our exponents. So x to the 7th, y to the 4th, and that is our final answer right there. All right, some percent questions. So we're going to have 15 is what percent of 125? So what percent means we don't know what our percentage is. So that means our percent is our x value. So remember, percent always goes over 100. And then we have 15 over 125. We're going to go ahead and cross multiply. So we're going to have those two set equal to those two. So 15 times 100 equals 125 times x. So 15 times 100 is 1,500 equals 125x. Divide both by 125. And let's put that in the calculator. 1500 divided by 125. And x equals 12. All right, B, what is 15% of 125? So percent always goes over 100, so 15 over 100 is over of, so of 125, that's going to go on the bottom, x. So we're going to have 100 times x and 15 times 125. It equals 100x. So then 15 times 125, 1,875. That equals 100x. So divide it by 100, divide by 100, divide by 100, and x equals 18.75. All right, 9, find the slope of the following function. So slope is rise over run. It's going up from left to right, so when you look at it that way, it's going up, so that means it's a positive slope. So we're going to count how many it goes up. So from this point, it goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it runs or goes to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our m, or our slope, is 5 over 6. So 5 here, 6 here. All right, next one. The school that Jordan goes to is selling tickets to a choir performance. The first day of sales tickets, they had 6 senior citizen tickets, 4 children's tickets for $42. Had $71 on the second day with 10 senior citizen tickets and 7 children's tickets. So this is just like that one that we did in the beginning. So we're going to have the two equations. And our two equations, we're going to have 6 senior citizen tickets plus 4 children's tickets for $42. The second one, we're going to have 10 senior citizen tickets and 7 children's tickets for $71. So we're going to use that information and we're going to plug it into the matrix on our computer. or I'm sorry, on our calculator. So we're going to go up here to our matrix menu, second matrix. We're going to go over and we're going to edit. So this one's going to be the same size, but we're just going to have different numbers this time. So we're going to line it up the same, 6, 4, and 42, and 10, oops, 10, 1, there you go, 7, and 71. So our matrix now has the right numbers in it. We're going to go out of this, go back into the matrix, math. Again, we're going all the way down to RREF. Click enter. And we're going to go back into the matrix menu. We're going to choose matrix A. And then there we go. So that number on top is our S. So S equals 5 and C equals 3. All right, number 11. On a city map, 1 inch. So 1 inch equals 4 miles. The distance between a restaurant and a hotel is 5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what is the distance in miles? So this is 4 miles, this is 4, that's 4, 4 and 4. So that means we have 4 miles 5 times. So if you add all those together, you're going to get 20 miles. All right, number 12, factor 2x squared plus x minus 15. So we're going to multiply our a times c. So a times c, we're going to get 2 times negative 15, which is negative 30. And then we're going to add two numbers that add up to equal b, which is the number in front of our x right here, which happens to be a positive 1. So two numbers that add up to negative, or multiply to give you negative 30 and add up to 1, we're going to have 6 and negative 5. So then we're going to factor by grouping. So we're going to get 2x squared plus 6x minus 5x minus 15. So if you remember, we're just separating it so we can factor by grouping. So we're going to take these two, and we're going to take these two. So in this one, we're going to be able to factor out a 2x. And we're going to divide, we'll get x plus 3. On these ones, we're going to have a negative 5 in common. So factor out a negative 5, and you're still going to get x plus 3, which is exactly what you want. So then our final answer, we're going to get x plus 3. So that's these. And then you're going to turn this and that into a set of parentheses. So 2x minus 5. And that is your final answer. That is our answer in factored form. All right, we have people selling fruit for a school fundraiser. We can get 3 small boxes and 14 large boxes for $203. We have 11 small boxes and 11 large boxes for $220. So we're going to have 3 small plus 14 large for $203. And we're going to get 11 small plus 11 large for $220. So we're going to use a matrix again. So we're going to go into our matrix menu and go back. We're going to edit our matrix. It's the same size matrix. So we're going to have 3, 14, 203. Then we have 11, 11, and 220. So we're going to quit out of here. Then it's actually going to be quicker. If we go up, we can choose to run the RREF on matrix A again. But now that we've changed the matrix A, it'll calculate it with our new numbers. So what that tells us is our first variable S is 7, and our second variable L is 13. So one small box costs 7, and one large box costs 13. All right, so we're going to move on to number 14. So we're going to work this out the same way that we did the last factoring one. We have two numbers that have to multiply together to give you A times C. And A times C is going to be negative 210. Then we have two numbers that add up to give you your B value, which in this case is negative 23. I had to play around with this one a little bit, but once you find it, it's going to be 7 and 30. And since they have to add up to negative 23, it's going to be a negative 30. So we're going to write it out as 4 terms. We're going to get 2x squared plus 7x minus 30x minus 105. So we're going to factor by grouping. So out of the first two terms, we can take out an x. So when you do that, you're going to be left with 2x plus 7. And out of the second two terms, we can take a negative 15. When we do that, we're going to get the same thing, 2x plus 7. So from there, we're going to take the two that they share, 2x plus 7, and then we're going to take these two, and x minus 15, and that is your final answer. All right, the perimeter of a rectangle is 36 inches. The length is 6 less than 3 times the width. Write a system of linear equations that can be used to find the measure of the length and width. So we're going to have the length is 6 less than 3 times the width. So 6 less than 3 times the width. So 3w minus 6. And then you're going to get your perimeter is 2 width plus 2 length. So you can take your length equation. You're going to get 2w plus 2 times L. So we're taking this equation and we're plugging in L for it. So 2 times 3w minus 6 equals your perimeter. So those can be your equations that you use to solve for either your length or your width. All right, solve for m. So we want to get m by itself. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get rid of that 2 on the bottom. So that means we are going to multiply both sides times 2 to cancel it out. So 2e is equal to m times v squared. Again, we want to get that m by itself. So since the m and the v squared are multiplying together, we're going to divide by v squared on both sides. And our final answer, m is equal to 2e over v squared. And that's it. All right, on number 17, that's a little typo. That's supposed to be an equals -2. So we can do two things. We can either solve by using systems and the matrix, or we can do elimination. I'm going to do elimination here, and then I'm also going to do it on the calculator. So if we do elimination, I'm going to try and get out the y's, eliminate the y's. So I'm going to multiply by -2. So when I do that, our new equation is going to say -8x minus 2y equals -26. So when I do that, our y's are going to cancel out, and we're going to have -14x equals -28. Divide by -14 on both sides, and x equals 2. Our last step is just going to be to plug it back in. So I'm going to plug it into that top equation. You're going to get 4 times 2 plus y equals 13. So you're going to get 8 plus y equals 13. Subtract 8 from both sides, and y equals 5. Okay, the other way you can do it is you can use a matrix. So we're going to go over to edit. So we have our two equations, 4x, y, 13, -6x, 2y, and then -2. So we're just going to plug those numbers in. So we're going to have 4x, 1y, and 13. Then we're going to have -6, 2, and -2. So after we do that, we're going to get out of that matrix. Again, we can go up and reuse that RREF, and it'll calculate it. And then we have 2 as our x value and 5 as our y value. So it all checks out. All right, number 18, we're going to use a matrix again. So we're going to go back into that matrix menu. This time, the size of our matrix is going to change. We have 3 rows down and 4 across. So it's going to be a 3 by 4 matrix. So 3 by 4. So there it goes. It adds in that row for you. So then remember, if there's nothing in front of it, we're going to add a 1. And then on this one, we actually have 0x on that last row. So we need to make sure that we add in that 0. So we're going to have 1x, 2y, plus 1z equals 2. Then we have 3x, 8y, 1z equals 12. Then we have 0x, 4y, 1z equals 2. So got all of our numbers in. Again, we're going to quit out. We can go back up to RREF. It uses the same thing, just a new matrix input. So there we go. We're going to have x equals 2, y equals 1, and z equals -2. All right, a city bus collects $603 in fares in one day. The price of a regular fare was $1.50. So regular fare is $1.50. Discounted fare was 80 cents. If 500 people paid the fare on the bus, write the system that can be used to find how many people paid the regular fare and how many people paid the discounted fare. So first we have $1.50 for our regular plus 80 cents for our discounted equal a total of $603. So remember, you always have one equation that uses money. So $1.50, 80 cents, and 603. And then it says if 500 people paid the fare on this bus, that's going to be our second equation for 500 people. We're going to have regular plus discounted. And that is going to be your total system. If you want to input it on your calculator, you can find the numbers. All right, use regression to find the linear function that describes the data for the table below. So what we're going to do is we are going to go into our stat and then edit, and we are going to input some numbers. So our x column here is going to go in our L1. So we have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then in our second column, we're going to go over and put in our y values. So 6, 2, -2, -6, -10, and -14. So then we're going to get out of here. We're going to go back to stat, go over to calc, and then we are going to linear regression. So enter. We're using L1 and L2. Go down to calculate. And there is our equation, y equals ax plus b, where our a is -2, so -2x plus 6. So that is our equation. So then it says find f of -23. So that means we are taking this equation and plugging in -23. So we are going to multiply. -2 times -23 is going to give us 46 plus 6. So y equals 52. Or if we write it like the question asks, f of -23 is 52. Okay, on to number 21. It says solve for r. So we are trying to get r by itself. So the first thing we're going to have to do is divide by pi. So if we do that, we're going to have a divided by pi equals r squared. To undo the squared, we're going to have to square root both sides. So square root, square root. When we square root, that's going to cancel out with the squared. So the square root of a over pi equals r. So that is your answer for number 21. Okay, on to number 22. 22. So it says the area of a rectangle is 198p to the fourth q to the third. The length of the rectangle is 11pq squared. What is the width? So area equals length times width. So if we are given the area and we need to find the width, we need to divide both sides by the length to get the width by itself. So width equals area divided by length. So our area is 198p to the fourth q to the third all over 11pq squared. So 198 divided by 11 is going to give us 18. And then we're going to subtract our exponents. So we're going to subtract the 4 and the 1. So that's p to the third. And then the 3 minus the 2. We're going to get q to the first power, just q to the 1. All right, find the perimeter of a triangle that has a base, that side of that, and that. So we're just going to, since we're finding perimeter, we're adding all of our sides together. So 2x squared y to the third plus 4x to the fourth minus 7y to the third. Then we have to add in this side minus 3y cubed plus 7x squared plus x squared y to the cubed plus 3x squared minus 3x squared y to the third. So we're going to identify our like terms. So I'm going to look for all the x squared y to the thirds. So we have an x squared y to the third, x squared y to the third, and I think that is it. So we have 2x squared y to the third plus 1x squared y to the third minus 3. So 2x squared y to the third plus 1x squared is going to give us 3x squared y to the third. But then when we subtract 3, those are actually all just going to cancel each other out. Then we're going to look at our x to the fourth. That is the only one that we have. So we have 4x to the fourth. Then we have negative 7y to the third minus 3y to the third. So negative 7 minus 3 is negative 10y to the third. And then we have 7x squared plus 3x squared. So that's going to give us 10x squared. Okay. Next one, x minus 7 squared. So x minus 7 times x minus 7. So I'm going to do our box method. So we're going to have x squared minus 7x plus 49. So we're going to combine our like terms here. X squared minus 14x plus 49. Good. Box that one. All right. Simplify. So we're going to be multiplying. So we're going to get 12xy to the fifth. We're adding our exponents. And 24x squared y cubed to the z power. So we are adding those exponents and multiplying the coefficients. All right, last questions. Write linear equations so that the graphs are parallel. That means the slopes are the same. So y equals 2x plus 1, y equals 2x plus 5. You just have to have this be the same as that. All right, you guys, make sure you come to tutoring if you need it and you ask any questions, all right?